Yeah. Yeah. So many flight books, it's a library. I be in that Dior. Just took a flight to Bora. Foreign cars like foreigners. Burberry on her. Up in France, Miss Bonjour. I be in Conde Garçon. We going past the mall. Only pass with carrots. Spend at the mall. We do the same. Milan, Madame, we sing. Add some more change. That's the sing along. Dripping all the way from home at St. Laurent. Some of the flight books, a library. We ain't flying solo. Tune in to the show. It's the Passport Bros. No excuse entertainment. It's no excuse in the show. Turn it up some more. It's the Passport Bros. No competition. Fuck around and get dizzy. I just money we spending. Javinci. Got Javinci on bitches. Got bitches on bitches. The bitches on bitches. Gucci in the sand. Emilio Pucci bag. Fill it with cash. When I ball the travel, I don't dribble and pass. When I'm fucking on a Venezuelan. I'm a Martian. I'm an alien. Took off landed Africa. Big stepping like an elephant. Blood diamond, but he delicate. That's more I'm from, I'm Henderson. Bought a jet for my residence. Best friends with that president, bitch.
Whoa! What's good? What's good? Welcome to the Passport Bros podcast, man. Appreciate all y'all that's in the building. Do a quick sound check, man. One in the chat if I'm loud and clear. One in the chat if I'm loud and clear. What it do? What it do? Salute J Focus. What's good? Tim said could be. Okay. TK said, well, Black Americans Day, all races too. I mean, it's a good point. Gerard, man, what it do, man? What it do, man? I've been meaning to ask you a question because I need another barber in Nairobi, man. I don't know what happened to old boy, but yeah, I have to holler at you offline, man. But yeah, man, I want to talk about red flags or potential red flags. So, and anytime I pose a question, it's intended to be for open panel. So I'm gonna make sure I pin the StreamYard links in the chat on YouTube as well. Let me do that real quick. So I'm going to talk about the title and some other potential red flags as well. So just bear with me a moment. He said yeah, it's a red flag. So bear with me one moment. I just want to make sure that I just want to pin this link to the YouTube. So I have posted this question on my community tab. And hold on, how do I do that? I have posted this on my community tab, and a couple people said I should actually do a stream on it. So, all right, one moment. Let me just pin this real quick. All right, so I got it pinned there, and then let me do it on the other channel. So, yeah. People want to come up now. Anybody want to come up now? They can. I'll just kind of go through my spiel, and then we can talk about it because we don't really we talk about a lot of stuff in the space, but the things that really don't get too much coverage is like whenever we're talking about like vetting or red flags. He said only a silly question if you do not value people. So let's kind of talk about one red flag before we get to the first one. Do you guys think it's a red flag if a foreign woman only is interested in dating men outside her country, or if she doesn't have a preference. She's just open to date whatever good guy she meets, whether it's in her country or foreigner. Like, do you guys see any red flags with either situation? Let me know. Let me know. So the question is, all right. So one in the chat if it's a red flag if a woman from a country is only interested in foreigners. Two in the chat if you think it's a red flag if she still dates dudes in her country as well as foreigners. I want to see something. Let me pull up my chat GPT because I did want to make sure I got another angle with that. Let's see. All right. Again, one in the chat. One in the chat if you think it's a red flag if she only dates foreign men. Two in the chat if you think it's a red flag if she's still open to date men in her country. He said the same way. And that's a good angle to look at too. All opinions are welcome. He said, I think it's a red flag if she goes out her way to say she dates all races. Most black men date only light skin, only light skin if they black. She looking for a come up. All right, so I got two ones. So the ones means that it's a red flag if she only interested in foreign women. Wow, okay. Why? Why you say it's a red flag, Gerard? Why you say zero to hero it's a red flag if she only dates foreign women? I just want to kind of see where y'all are coming from with that. Red flag if she only dates. Okay, and why and why? Just give me like one. Give me one reason. I'm curious. Cause for me, I don't think it's for me. It's not a red. For me, it's not a red. For me, it's not a red flag. But like I said, red flags is subjective from person to person. But for me, it's not a red flag. If she's still open to date men in her country, for me, it's a potential red flag. He said, but Colombia is a special case, and in these women dating only gringos, most of their men can't get honest paying jobs. Yeah, but you can say that for most of the countries most brothers travel to. To be honest with you, I don't think if you using that argument, I wouldn't say Colombia is by itself when it comes to that. You go to a lot of these countries in Africa, you know, DR. He said to me, she's looking for a come up in life. So now that's a good point. That's a good way to look at it too. And I thought about that as well. So I think you guys I think that's a very good way to look at it. Um, because if she wasn't really pressed on foreigners and you met her organically out, then she's not necessarily someone that you would think is looking for a come up. So that's a good point, man. Salute, Gerard. So and if you want to explain why you put one real quick,
Yeah, because I
please do.
thought it would be easier to do that versus the chat. If she only dates foreigners, that means A, she doesn't really value her culture, in my opinion. As well as like I'm thinking she looking for a come up, bro. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, or she feels she's beyond her own men. What like I said, it'll be I feel the same vice versa with the earlier question. If it was in reverse this is specifically for a woman. See, women or men aren't the same. So like for people who think that it's the same, is to me is completely different.
Right.
But a woman is willing to go to um, you know, uh outside of her local tradition, her local men. That means that she's kind of it's almost the same effect why you know she doesn't value her men. She doesn't value her, what I'm saying, the men in her life or the men, in her country or what have you. If she's solely doing it like, hey, like like it to me is the equivalent of a divester. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the way I look at it. That's how I put it. She's she's divesting from her own men. You know what I mean? That is the same as a divester, for here in the States, or in Western countries where they're like, hey, I'm gonna go for, quote unquote, the most eligible, man outside of my own man because I feel like I'm above them. You know what I mean? So to me, that's my explanation and behind if she solely does it for that particular reason, not just because, what I'm saying, she just so happens to sense, hey, I made an advance and she was willing to take it. Like, no, she's actually headhunting, like I don't talk to my own men at all for the chance to be able to, go up in the quote unquote pecking order. Hence, that's what divestors basically do, here in the States, right? They're saying that black men aren't on their level or beneath them and that they want to go for a better man. So, yeah. So
So
that
how was
to
that?
me is the same equivalent.
Now, how was that different from men? Let's say divesting from the Western women or American. Let's say American women.
I say it's different because um the way I look at it, bro, is like, men are already natural leaders. So and a man wants to lead his family. It should be in a patriarchal kind of mindset. So we lead, and we're supposed to train whatever female that we get with. Now we're dealing with women that don't want to be submissive to us. That's a completely different thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't think the roles are equivalent. I don't think it's a one for one. You know what I mean? Because in our and for those of us who say, hey, I want a woman that's on my program, right? And if the women that in my local area are not willing to be on my program because they feel like they're better than me, in some form or fashion, then I have to go seek out what is going to get with my program. So you know what I mean? So it's not so much. Like I said, I think it's different dynamic. You know what I'm saying? I feel like men are going outside of their local, either their race or their culture, because they're not able to get a woman to go with their program, versus the other way around where a woman feels like, hey, women are hypergamous, men are not hypergamous. So that's
Right.
the difference between the situation where I feel is
Right.
different.
Right. But one can make the argument and say, well, the nature, well, it's apples and apples because women are making decisions based off the female nature and we're making decisions off the male nature. So if we look at it by nature, then one could say, well, it's the same because we're both responding based on our nature. Women are more hypergamous by nature. Men are more uh, are you know we need women to be submissive. That's our nature. We need a submissive mate. So it could look like it if you look at it that way. It looks the same.
I don't think it does, man. Again, again, I feel like men are not saying, hey, I'm only, for the most part. And but there are those in this group, in the passport, bro, ethos that only date out, and refuse to date Western women or take them seriously. Um, but I feel like that has less to do that I'm trying to like I feel like it's less to do to, hey, I'm getting I'm necessarily going above and beyond you. It's more so like, yeah, hey, you're not dealing with, I can't find what I want here, because I don't want to force, I don't, to make a woman follow my lead. I'm just going to find a woman that follows my lead. You know what I mean? And I have a better shot at with a group of females that are, who are more accustomed to that. Hence, that's why we even go to Africa, honestly, because the men in their culture, they, generally speaking, the women in African culture respect their men. They follow their men. So if if I were to find a woman that doesn't respect her men, more likely than not, she's the equivalent of a female here in the States or in the Western culture. You see what I'm saying? So it's, to me, it's not the same, bro. It's not the same at all, because again, a woman who says, hey, I don't want to be with my men, because in all actuality, you know what I'm saying, men on the continent, and we're specifically talking about the continent, obviously have changed for different regions and locales and cultures, but particularly the men on the continent are way more machismo, way more in control, way more controlling than what we are. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times it's like a breath of fresh air when they deal with, African American men, you know what I'm saying? Because because we come from a society where, we're not clenching down that hard. You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm saying? Like domestic violence in the continent is very, very real. You know what I mean? And I feel like, as we all, you should see how all the men responded to the J. Rello situation. Those of us who were African American, we're like, yo, this is crazy, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? He gonna get locked up. They don't care about that over there. You know what I'm saying? It's a totally different paradigm shift. You know what I'm saying? Or what have you. So again, for a woman that just like, I don't date my own men because I am just completely ignoring them. I'm only going after a Western man because I feel like I can run game on him. You know what I mean? Knowing that there's this difference between, African men on the continent and us, you know what I'm saying? And how we, deal with women. In my opinion, I feel like we are much kinder, you know what I'm saying? Overall, that's my particular feel of it. It's no different from when black women who are divestors feel like, hey, what are their big issues, right? When they say they leave black men, or black man, you know what I'm saying? A white guy's going to do, be way nicer to you, be more romantic, pay for things that a black man, basically they're an easier guy and a better come up. I don't, you know what I'm saying? They looking at basically divestors look at white men or men of other cultures as the lick. Right, you know what I'm saying.
So real quick,
go ahead.
would you just so I can understand what you're talking about? Right. Would you say if black women in the U.S. that said that they don't want to deal with black American men, they want to deal with, let's just say Nigerian, let's just say African men, right?
Right.
Are they divestors?
Yeah, they are to a certain extent. I mean, yeah, they are, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, me personally, like I wouldn't want to. If again, to me, it is a red flag. Now you have to understand. Obviously there's nuances to all of this, right? It's obviously nuances to all of this. But if I met if I heard a woman from another culture trashing their own men, right? I wouldn't think that would be impressive. Like she's trashing her men to impress me, but I'm looking at like you are basically doing exactly the same thing that our women do to us or are known to do to us or what have you. No different than if I was to, you know what I'm saying, go and trash black American women to, or Western women, quote unquote, to a non-Western woman, right? Like, like if I led with that, you know what I'm saying? Not to say that, it doesn't come up in conversation, blah, 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 but I led with that. Like, to me, that's lame. You know what I'm saying? All in all, that's just my opinion. I'm sure other people have differences of opinion.
I'm gonna get my spin on this. What ChatGPT said. He said, if you're a man that sees she only dates foreign men as a red flag, why some men see this as a problem? I think it was mentioned, y'all mentioned it, transaction motives. Exclusively chasing foreign men may mean she's motivated by money, visas, or lifestyles, not love. Exotic, exotic, exoticization. She
Mm-hmm.
might see foreign men as a status symbol, which reduces you to nationality instead of valuing you personally. Disconnection from roots. If she avoids her own men completely, it could mean she has unresolved issues with her own culture or people. Lastly, insecurity or hypergamy. Sometimes it reflects a mindset of foreign is better, which can create problems once the novelty wears off, once the honeymoon phase
Mm-hmm.
wears off. So for me, I feel like most, I feel like when foreign women believe that I don't date women in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
it gives them a sense of security, right? I've
Mm-hmm.
I've, I've been in relationships with foreign women, and I could say, "Oh, I'm going to Houston to see my homies." They're like, "Okay, cool." They're not asking me like insecure questions. I could say I'm going anywhere in the U.S. I could say I'm going to the mall or anything like that. If I say, "Yeah, I'm going to Rwanda," I'm going to Colombia, I'm going to Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
all the antennas go up, all the insecurity questions come up. So so them knowing that I'm not, they don't have to worry about me being with women in the US, it brings them a sense of security. So looking at their perspective, they would say, they wouldn't look at that as a red flag, because they look at it as a sense of, okay, I don't have to I wouldn't have to really worry about him at home, because they believe my position when it comes, they more worried about me messing around with other foreign women, than worrying about me messing around with women from my country. So that's why I kind of see it in a different nuance, because if a foreign woman only dates foreign men, and let's just say you believe that, then she could be more trustworthy. She could bring a more sense of calmness, if you're not there, because you don't have to, you only have to worry about foreign men coming at it. You don't have to worry about, Jose down the street, you know,
Man,
or
I don't worry about it either way, bro. Because you can't police a woman's body, what she tells you, what she gonna tell you. You don't know. You're not there. I don't worry about it at all. You know what I'm saying? I don't do monogamy or what have you. As
I'm
far as
just saying,
on my
generally
end,
speaking, though. Okay, I get what you're
yeah,
saying.
on my end. So she would, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like kind of open, the fact that I may deal with other women anyway. But yeah, I feel what you're saying, man. My whole thing is like, you know. I don't even say trust and verify. I don't, just live your life, bro. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, you can't control what a woman do. I don't trust a woman as far as I can throw her. You know what I mean? And so I kind of operate from that perspective. Period. Hence, that's why I'm not monogamous. That's why I would never give monogamy, because I don't feel as, you know what I mean. I've been told that I've been given monogamy. I'm actually in some long distance relationships that's going on for some years with the women I had back in Kenya, but I don't ever
Yeah.
like feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like the like, I'm not going to sit up here with the delusion that like, oh, I'm the best thing ever, and she ain't stepping out. So, with that, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I just don't do monogamy, period, bro. I just don't, I don't believe in it. I'm gonna just be honest with you, and she'll tell me, from here to the moon, that, you know what I'm saying? And no, I don't see nobody else, blah, blah, blah. This is, man, I don't believe that shit, man. You know what I mean? So it's
I,
just,
No, I get what you're saying. No, I get what
right.
you're saying. No, but like,
Mm-hmm.
if a woman was to look at me and you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say you still deal with women in the U.S. and I
I
don't.
do. Yeah.
Who is she? Who do you think she would naturally feel
Yeah, she
more
probably, yeah, she would,
comfortable?
yeah. You know what I'm saying? She would go with you more. I mean, if we were to do just straight up off the numbers, but not based on personality, nothing
Right,
else
right,
like that.
right.
Based on that, you are 100% correct. I would think majority of women would rather deal with your situation than deal with my situation. But but again, it's everyone for every. It's there's somebody for everybody, and in my opinion, I feel it's multiple people for multiple people. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think it's just one for one. I feel like it just all depends on how you click and how honest and transparent you are. You know what I'm saying? Because like you understand, like I actually have a wife. You know what I mean? So when I went over to Kenya or what have you, I had a wife here in the States. That might make them feel more comfortable because they're like, look, I know he got a woman. You know what I mean? So he's not gonna be able to creep. You know what I'm saying? Because he has a wife and kids back in the States. You know what I mean? And he's shown and proven that he's taking care of a family. Hence, that gives some sort of social proof that he's able to do that for me. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So like my dynamic is different. I even have my girls like, hey, how the kids? How you and your wife doing? Blah blah blah. They would ask. You know what I'm saying? Like they already know the situation. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it just, again, I'm not promoting my lifestyle for anybody. I'm just saying what works for me at the end of the day. And since this came up in the conversation, I know that's not the original thing we were talking about, but I'm just living, giving my lived experience or what have you. To me, it's again, going back to it, it's the equivalent of a divestiture here in the States. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the context over in Africa in particular. More likely than not, she's more westernized anyway. If she's thinking like that, she's thinking like, hey, I don't date my men because they're too sexist, they're too controlling, they're too all these things. That's gonna, like, to me, you like ding ding ding, like this is like a feminist in the continent. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up, that's exactly how I would look at it, bro. And it's slowly creeping in. You know what I mean? It's slowly.
No, I agree. Like I have looked at it as a red flag because it's like, okay, if she doesn't date her local man, she has a motive. Whatever that motive is, it could be money, it could be relocation, whatever it is, it could be a motive. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when I look at myself and not dating women in my country, I look at it as a positive for foreign women. It's like they don't have to worry about women here. They as long as I'm in the United States, they at peace.
Yeah. Well,
but I know it don't work the same way. I know it don't work the same way though, because I don't have, their motive for dating foreign women is not their motive for dating a foreign
man is not the same.
Motive, and so, so I asked. So ChatGPT says, what if she still dates local men? And so, why some men could see this as a problem? They say split attention. She might just be keeping her options open, which can feel like she's not serious about a foreign partner. Now, I've sensed that. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you are all in on foreign, and she's not all in on foreign, then I think it could be a challenge because if I want somebody all in just like I'm all in, like I'm all in foreign. If she not all in foreign, like it could be a red flag. Comparison factor. If she still dating men in her country, she could constantly compare you to them, culture, money, treatment, etc. Practical temptation. Local men are physically present, which can make long distance foreign relationships vulnerability to infidelity. Which to my initial point. And then lastly, cultural preference. It may signal she's ultimately more comfortable with her own people, and her interest in foreigners is just curiosity, not commitment. So like like me developing interest in like Ethiopian culture, right? Now, if the majority of women prefer Ethiopian men, that sucks. That sucks for me, right?
Yeah. Disadvantage you.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like but then at the same time, if I meet a woman in, let's say, Ethiopia, and she's looking for a foreman, then it's like, damn, she looking for a come up. Now, if she's open to both, then then I guess that maybe that's a safe zone if she's open to both versus one of the versus one or the other. But
Yeah.
But if she's open to both, it still creates another. Is one thing I've noticed about foreign dating is that I can compete. I can compete with foreign men, but I can't compete with a local. I can't compete culturally with a local man.
Right. Because
Even
the
I,
language, you know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Yeah, it's all of that. Like you said, the proximity, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, I feel like, you know, whether it's foreign or domestic, if it's in her to if it's in her to be that way, it's going to be that either way. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was never yours to begin with. You know what I'm saying? It should be any man. It shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? If she's into you and she's into you, then that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it shouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't matter whether it was, it could, again, it could be another foreign man or that, and also, again, also depends on what's her proximity to foreign man or, but nonetheless, it doesn't, in my opinion, is, tomato, whether it's a foreign man or whether it's a local guy. If it's in her to go ahead and step out, it's going to happen. If it's not, it's not. You know what I mean? And really that just comes down to her character, who she is, you know, so on and so forth. The how close and tight you are with her, how frequently you are able to come, how you all's communication. You know what I mean? And you can have all of that, and still she might step out, bro. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's why I don't like I said, I've always stated in a lot of the different interviews I've done, like, bro, I don't police women, man. You cannot police a woman's body, bro. It's hers to give to whoever, who she wants, and when she wants, for whatever reason she wants. You know what I'm saying? And there's what a woman does where her body is no, bad thing on you or no failing on you as a guy because she, stepped out. You know what I'm saying? Like the same way. Now here I do think it's the same. Like, a woman could be doing everything right and a guy steps out, right? It ain't really necessarily had to do about her, so to speak. That's just how we thirst. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I do believe the women can't serve two masters at the same time. You know what I mean? Like something's going to give. She can't serve two. I think a man could divvy up more than one, but a woman can't serve two. It's again, I believe in gender roles. I believe in different biology. I don't believe that men and women are equal in any form or fashion. Not to say that, I'm just saying we're not the same, not to say one's better than the other. I'm just saying it's not like in what you call that, like parts that are interchangeable and no, we're completely different. And when you have to and so things change depending on the gender that you're in, the situation that you're talking about.
Now, when it comes to the question, is it a red flag for an Afro-Latina or African woman is open to date, or is it a red flag for an Afro-Latino or African woman is open to date all races?
Yeah, man. I mean, it goes back to the whole thing of divesting. You know what I mean? That's even more so to the question. That's how I view it. I just view it like, and especially like in Latin America. That's why I'm not really a fan of Latin America. There's so many colorism and race issues in regards to that, way more than ours. And you would think, how in the U.S., man, we got all of our little, idiosyncrasies when it comes to race and color. There's 10 times more. You know what I mean? So it's just like, that's why I'm really not that a big of a fan of Latin America, and dating and dealing with that. It's like, I just rather just, I'm more, pro the continent. And because at least I want to deal with somebody who, they're more, they're black and they know they're black. You know what I'm saying? And, that's not even a question or what have you in regards of whether they're black or not. Like we don't have to, go into that at all. So yeah. Again, it's no different than, like I said, about, in Kenya, you see it a lot. Out of all the places I've seen it, like, you'll see black women with white men, you know what I mean? And to me, it's like, yeah, I mean, if you really into that, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's,
Yeah, I know a lot of guys are indifferent about the question. Kenny says a red flag that they don't want. You got to ask a woman that if they feel like it's a red flag. Most black.
I can't read the question because it's so small. I'm on my phone. What does it
He
say,
said.
bro?
No, he
Or the
said.
comment?
He said, "Is it a red flag to date a woman from Nigeria?" Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm not a fan of Nigeria. But
I think most. I mean, I don't know if he's
Mhm.
being funny or what, but I think.
I'm
I
not.
mean, I think black American women, they don't care who we date as long as it's not. As long as she's not. If she's black, they don't care. If she's African, Caribbean, I don't think they care.
I think they care, bro. They do. They do, man. They do. They do.
But
they they
they
do,
claim
dog.
they claim when they say they don't. They say as long as she's white.
Yeah, I think they do, bro. I think they do, man. In my opinion, they'll judge you as being weak either way. 'Cause they're like, oh, you can't deal with a black American sister. That. I mean, there's some of them. I'm sure there's some that don't give a damn at all. There's a lot of I think that as the generations go, um, because we're both. I'm gonna say we're both Gen X, right, bro? You consider yourself Gen X?
I mean, I'm an '80s baby. I give that's Gen X.
Yeah, okay. Well, depending how far into the '80s, but I'm a Gen X millennial. If I was a millennial, I'm an older millennial. Like I'm right on the cusp. I was born in '79, November of '79, so I'm so close to '80, but still in '79. Oh, it's my man Jesse. Man, what's Jesse saying? I can't read his
He
comment.
said, short answer, no. He said the best women usually don't discriminate. Women who only date this group or that group are really. You gotta explain that, bro. That you gotta explain
I
that,
agree.
bro.
Me and Jesse, I agree. I agree with it, bro. Like you know what I'm saying? To
You
me,
gotta
like
come up and explain that, bro. Go ahead.
I'm sure he will. And like I said, in my opinion, man, like only, like no, like, and here's the thing, like, and especially in Africa, right? Now, obviously, in certain cities and certain areas, it might be more. They may be more prone or go around foreigners, but generally speaking, travel to the United States, at least for Black Americans. I'm sorry, travel to Africa for Black Americans.
Mhm.
We're still not in big numbers. You know what I'm saying? So usually I'm trying to think if you are a African woman that's purely dating a foreigner, 9 times out of 10 you are dating somebody non-black.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like odds are, you know what I'm saying? You dating and that says a lot right there, bro. Like
Man,
only.
because if she not, I mean, some people be joking. They be trying to call me Dr. Umar or the passport
Hmm.
bro.
Hmm.
But if if she's with me, hold on. I'm reading something chat said. If she prioritizes foreign men over, well, no, that's a different viewpoint. Um,
Excuse me.
I don't know, man. I just if for me, it's a red flag.
Is a
And I
red
would
flag
say
for what? If she does both, you saying?
it's a red flag because she's not aligned with my personality. Not saying that she's a red flag for different men. Different. Every man is different. Red flags are going to depend on your personality, your circumstances, how you vet women. But for me, it's a red flag because I'm pro black, right?
Right.
And it's not pro black American. I'm just pro.
Right.
I'm pro black.
I
And
agree.
if
Yeah.
she doesn't have a pro black mindset, then we're gonna clash on a lot. We're gonna clash on certain things. We're not gonna see certain things, and then my ambitions and motivations might not be fully supported by her because she's gonna have a different worldview on how we view race and things like that. So
Yeah. I've actually straight up. I have encountered that
that's
in
true.
Kenya, bro. Like straight up, because there are women that I've met in the past that had dealt with white foreigners, right? And of course they can kind of see my opinion about it, or and just in general, just even things I say, like like I don't like being around white people and things like that. They was like, you really, because people in the continent don't look at it the same way we do. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
You
right.
know what I'm saying? And I got told like, yeah, you kind of racist. You know what I'm saying? Like I was told that from you know what I'm saying, a black African woman, right? You know what I mean? Like at least twice. All while they said that I talked white, which was hella funny to me, right? All while being, you know, quote unquote, I'm a Mazungo and all this other stuff. But anyway, that's not what's being said. But yeah, you're right. You will encounter Africans because they don't have the same. They didn't have the same sort of like, you know, culturalization. I don't say culturalization, but they didn't have the same, you know, dealing with, you know, what we came up with, right? You know, their colonization, and what they face, and especially even like the younger people, because most of the women that I end up dating in Africa are generally like between their 20s and 30s. You know what I'm saying? So I'm already like 10 to 15 years older than them. So they're, like I said, even their what they went with colonization was completely different compared to, you know what I'm saying, what we were going through, you know, at the same times here in America, right? You know, they are much more have much more affinity to whites in general than what we do. You know, and again, now we know the reasons why. I don't have to even repeat that. Me and you understand it. So yeah, that can be, like you said, when you're dealing with African women, you know, issues of like that, and you know, that's another cultural thing that could be, that, you know, could be an issue if, like you said, you are a pro-black person. You know what I mean? One of something like many of the reasons why we leave, we're like, hey, I don't want to be in the States. I want to go to Africa, because you want to be around, you know, all black people. But you have to understand, like, they don't think the same way. They didn't have the same experiences that we did. You know what I'm saying? Even the generations that directly went under colonization are much older. You know what I'm saying? You know, I doubt that anybody, you know that I think their grandparents, you know, most of the women I'm talking, their grandparents would have, you know, dealt with Mau, you know, rebellion. You know what I'm saying? The internment camps, like, that's like, you know, several years away. You know what I mean? So, yeah, bro, it's
let me get Broken Berlin in. What's good, bro?
How you doing, man? I want to interject with a question real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
If a white nationalist, pro-white person, right?
Right.
They're still sexually attracted to black women, or would you say they can't be?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, they can. They're human.
When it comes to men, like,
okay,
you know,
yeah.
So in the inverse, could you not be pro-black and still sleep with white women?
That's a different nuance. That's a different nuance.
I'm just logically connecting the dots.
Most people say you can't.
Agree
most people say you can't. You know what I mean?
I'm just asking you guys.
Me personally, I don't think you could be pro-black in the sense of you could maybe be pro-black male. I've thought about this many a times, because I've interracially dated before. I'm not saying that, you know, that I'm against interracial dating. I've done it before and would do it again. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like, you know, I think the most extent you could go to is like, maybe you might be pro your gender if you are, you know, pro-black, but you can't say if you're going to willing to procreate, you know what I'm saying, that you are pro-black. You know what I'm saying? If you're willing to have mixed race kids, I don't think you could be pro-black.
Couldn't think about it. Let's make it simple. How Vikings would go, and they would be completely about their tribe, and but they would go and populate and go and do but still be pro whatever Viking. Couldn't the inverse be the same for being pro-black, and even you going out and impregnating women of other races, but you're pro-black? Just logically connecting the dots. Does that connect to you?
Well, I understand that premise, but if you want to use that example, or Christopher,
I'm just using Vikings, but every culture has done this to repopulate the world in this war of the worlds, you know.
Right. So how I would respond to that is that the white people that have done that, right? They have spread their seeds, but
they've mastered it.
Yeah, but they have not. But they don't look at their seeds, and they don't elevate their seeds to the same class as their race. So that's where racism comes in there, right?
But it does raise them from the class they're oppressing.
Depends, right? There could be a buffer class.
by society,
not just
by
usually,
society standards, they get more benefits by being separated from the color of the original oppressed.
But they uphold
The darker you are,
the
more oppressed.
the whiteness of them. They uphold the whiteness of them. That's going into that colorism
so,
thing.
Again, I'm just connecting the dots and saying that through their system of power and white
they're
supremacy, that's what they've done.
Right,
Couldn't it be
I
the
don't think
same
so.
that we do the exact same thing and still be pro-black?
I don't think so. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've thought of this because, like I said, I've interracially dated. Most of my teens and 20s, I interracially dated, and I've been very much pro-black for myself. And I'm thinking but at the end of the day, it always comes down to okay, if you at the bare minimum, you know what I mean, I need to recreate and procreate myself and in its original form, not in a diluted form. You know what I mean? In its original form.
It's not diluted, sir.
It is diluted. It is diluted. How is by very definition it's diluted?
It's human male and female woman.
No, it's diluted.
All you're doing is just give me a second, and we can do.
Okay.
All you're doing is bringing your elders from the atmospheres, and she is doing the same. That at base nature, that is what you're doing. It does not matter if you're bringing your elders in through someone of the same skin complexion as you. Does that?
I beg to differ. I mean,
we're transferring in different elders through recreation.
Let me respond. Let me respond to him, Gerard.
Okay. Again, I'm keeping this simple. I'm keeping this at simple form.
No, it's
base
not.
human being.
Yeah, it's not the same, brother. I mean, you can't take 100 and put it. You can't take 100 and go down to 50 and say 50 is the same as the 100.
It's not 50. It's still a human being.
It may be a color, but it's not. It's a different color at this point. You mix blue and red, it makes what, purple. You know what I'm saying? It's not either blue. It's not either red.
But it's still blue and it's still red.
No, it's purple. It's a different color. It's a color, but it's not the original of the two.
But it is still part when you break it down to the malt. Okay, go ahead.
No, yes. I'm saying, Gerard, just hold on for a second. I just want to do one-on-one real quick. So, if it's two scenarios. If I was to procreate with a white woman, right, and
yes,
and basically,
let's take it off white. Let's say it's an Asian woman.
All right. If I was to procreate with an Asian woman, and let's say I was a pookie about the situation, I just impregnated her, and basically created a bastard child. And then
you can't use that scenario. This has to be a scenario where the person is involved in the raising and rearing of the child.
Well, you started with a premise of Vikings impregnating.
Because a lot of times they colonize those areas, and I'm not talking about Vikings. They just came and pillage. They didn't pillage and leave the women there pregnant. They kidnapped them and brought them back, or they stayed on those premises and then set up shop. And then they rebuilt their culture on that premise and on that land.
You gotta redefine your premise because Christopher Columbus populated a whole island.
He himself did, or are you talking about the Italians?
No, I'm just saying in general, a small group of people landed and mixed that island, and they don't claim none of those descendants as their own. But they still,
if anything, they became a bastardized form of them. You know what I'm saying? And they couldn't inherit.
In America, we are the bastard children of white supremacy. We're the stepchildren.
Even in Europe, even in Europe context, in history, when the conquerors would come and impregnate the natives, those children that came out of that offspring was not of any. They didn't recognize them of any class. They didn't inherit lands. None of that. That's where you get this whole idea of bastardization.
That's just one generation, but through time, now those people have gotten benefits that are better than the original people. Through time, I'm not talking about from grandfather to grandson.
Okay, so am I allowed to use the word, because we use bastard in different forms? Am I allowed to use a bastard context or not?
Why can't you use the word bastard?
Okay, that's what I just said. If I could choose to create a bastard child with an Asian woman.
Okay, the bastard child means you just impregnated and you left. Yes.
Right.
Then no, you're not doing anything for. That's not black pride.
No, let me finish my point. So
Okay.
I create a bastard child with an Asian woman, and then I have a family with a black woman, and that child is going to inherit anything I have. They're going to be, you know, at the highest status of the blacks in a higher echelon of that black society. So I'm keeping it pro black, right?
You're talking about if you had a baby with an Asian woman, and then you didn't deal with anything as far as raising them. You have a family with a black woman, and then you pass away, and they inherit. You're saying that the Asian kid's going to inherit that from you too?
No, that's not what I said.
Okay, then I'm sorry. Say that the last part. I was with you
I'm
until
I'm
the last
I'm
part.
I'm, I'm using
You
your
said
premise.
inherit.
So
Yeah.
I'm trying to use your premise. So I have a bastard child with an Asian woman, right? That means that I'm not involved in that child's life.
Right.
That child will
And then
not
you have a
see me.
side family with a black woman.
My main family
No,
is
his main family.
my
Sorry,
main
not side.
family is
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
my main
Gotcha.
family is a black family. I have black children. They are going to be the heirs of whatever I have. They're going to be in the upper echelon of society.
Yes.
They may even be future politicians in their country. So, are you saying that that's okay in the context of being pro black? I'm still
Yes.
pro
If you
black in
were,
the sense.
yes. Let's say you did stuff for your community, and it wasn't just for your kids, it was for the infrastructure of what's around you and for the race of your people, and you happen to whatever slipped up and had a baby with some Asian woman on the side. That doesn't make you any less pro-black, does it?
I don't think I wasn't going there, but I mean, it's an angle to say, okay, I'm not gonna push back on that. But my approach, the way I look at way I look at myself being a quote unquote pro black is who I procreate with, who I put a ring on it with. That's what I look at it to. Like, yeah, I could go to Europe and
Can you be pro-black and believe in the institution of marriage and under America's system?
tie that into the
Oh, don't
question
worry, I
on
will.
the.
I will, but just answer that question.
Can you restate the question?
Can you be pro-black
Uh,
and also be pro-institution of marriage under America's system?
well, I was married to an Afro Colombian, and
I'm just talking
I
about
married in a.
married on governmental paper and being pro-black. It doesn't matter with what race you marry
You said
to. I'm just asking if you married into the system, can you be pro-black?
you said the United States. You said the U.S. So
Yes.
is the state system or U.S.? Because I got married in the country of Colombia government.
Then that's then you. I wish I can give you a fist pump. I can't. But okay, very smart. Is there a reason why you didn't get married into America's system?
Because she didn't move here. If she'd have
Ooh,
moved,
would you?
if she'd have moved
So
here,
you
then I
would
would
have
have had
married
to.
her in America's system.
If I had decided that it was best for her to live in the United States, then that would have been the only way for me to bring her to the United States is through legal marriage.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna make it full circle because again, um, you're whether you have sex with white women or Asian women or whatever, or impregnate them or whatever, or marry a black woman and get into the governmental system, you're getting married into white supremacy no matter what. And it's even the same thing. I don't know if you have children yet. It's even the same way when you're signing a birth certificate. You actually shouldn't sign it at all. And you should be able to have a conversation with her side of the family and your side of the family and be able to have a thing where you show what really is on the birth certificate and you study it and you see
Uh,
how it's actually tied so much to slavery and degrading you as a black man.
so
It's
you're
just,
saying if you get married and under state if you get married under state marriage, then you can't be pro black if you get that's what you're saying.
I'm saying if you're pro-black and getting married to the state, you haven't done the research enough to be actually pro-black. You might be college level black. You're
But how
not
does that have
pro-black
to do with okay? So how does
because
that
if
have to
you're
do
if
with red flags? Or how does that have to do with the topic is it a red flag if a black woman, a black Latino or African woman is open to date all races? Basically, is it a red flag if she's not pro black?
well, that's two different questions.
That's the topic of the stream, though. That's the topic of the stream.
Yeah, that's two different questions, and both. If she's is not a red flag in either case, and this conversation that I'm putting on the man's side is going to make it full circle because it's the same for the women. But I'm just trying to make it full circle, and it's okay. But you see where I'm kind of going.
I don't, brother, because I disagree with the fact that you quote unquote are marrying into white supremacy. I mean, you know, if we're saying going through a legal document,
what does
having a
pro-black
social
mean?
security number, you know, like this starting to kind of sound like sovereign citizen type talk. You know, at the end of the day,
pro level, right? Pro level. I'm just
you gotta ask. You gotta ask
pro level.
You gotta ask. Hold on. You gotta ask us as individuals how we define pro-black, and then attack.
Okay, how do you reach the level pro-black? Because I'm a black person. I don't think I've done the work to be pro level black person. Apparently, what is pro-black? How do you reach pro-black? Is it through education, through studies of the black culture and? Like it can't just be, well, I only want to sleep with black women. That can't be what makes you pro-black.
Are you American? Because it's an American concept.
Yes, I'm American. I'm from Oklahoma, from a black university called Lance University. I was raised in many people being pro-black my entire life.
Okay. So you asked if pro-black, like, is it a level or a certain status you reach? No,
yeah, I'm making kind of like a joke a bit, but still making a point.
Okay, you know who Dr. Umar is, right?
Yes, I know who Dr. Umar is. And your haircut is much better than his.
All right,
but you got the same beard.
So he considers himself, you know, pro-black, right? Not saying that I follow his definition,
right?
But he considers himself pro-black, right? A lot of people,
right? Because he has the vernacular and he studied, and he can make references. He's done the work to be at least educated enough to speak on black issues. So he is pro. He's not just some black dude.
But
he's pro-black.
He doesn't define his pro-blackness the way you define. He defines his pro-blackness on how he views dating and relationships and procreation. You know, what's his famous line about the snow bunnies? I forgot what his comment.
Snow bunnies never, or something like that. But
yeah,
I'm more logical with how I define it.
Black queens forever, snow bunnies never, or whatever.
I define my pro-blackness different, I guess, and I think we did in the '80s too.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of like even with the passport bros, man. You know what I mean? No one really owns it. No one, you know what I mean? In the sense of like there's a lot of different definitions and what people, you know, it's never going to be, I feel like, a agreed upon term or what makes a passport bro, what makes somebody pro-black. You know, there's going to be a lot of different variations. And it's going to be personal to us at the end of the day. Where I fall upon it is, you know, one facet of it, in my opinion, is that, you know, you must want to procreate and recreate the black family and black people or what have you. That's one aspect of it. Just, you know what I'm saying? Because like it's many more aspects, like you said, is education.
Well, Dr. Umar didn't create a black family. Is he pro-black?
Yeah, and I don't think so. I mean, he did, but you know what I'm saying? But he had
children, but he wasn't a family.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and a lot of people criticize that. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, so I'm again, this is my opinion for what it's worth or what have you. I feel you can be pro black male or pro black female if you procreate outside of your co-part, your co-racial gender part. I think well, because, you know, hey, you could support, many times you end up supporting, you know, your gender.
Hold that thought real quick. All y'all bringing up challenging, and we should challenge each other. Let me read the super chat real quick. Salute to Shao Khan for the $5 super chat. He says, you can't be pro-black and date outside your race. Makes no sense, man. No, I feel you, man. And like,
what if you dated an indigenous Native American woman? Could you still be pro-black and date her?
Again, I feel you could be pro your gender. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, that's what I feel like you can do.
Hold y'all thoughts for 1 second. Don't forget what y'all saying, but I wanna contrast some things, right? Now, people know that I'm like, I support the FBA movement, right? Like I'm found FBA all day, right? Now, obviously, I'm a passport bro too. So people's question like, well, why not? Why aren't you marrying or dating, or trying to get with a FBA woman, right? Which is good pushback. But my defense would be and say, well, hey, I already had a child with a foundational Black American woman. I've contributed to adding to my lineage.
Right.
I did my part at some point. You know what I mean? And so if I choose to have a child with another woman outside my culture, another Black culture, I feel like I'm still at liberty to do that because I'm still I'm still FBA because I created an FBA child in the past.
Like you could be pro-Black. Let's say you came to Amsterdam and fell in love with a Black chick from here, right? And you had a baby with her. You would still be just as pro-Black about American issues and everything going on. That wouldn't make you, because one, you're also getting into a different system outside of capitalism. So you're really doing better marrying into this system versus marrying into the American one. That if a divorce happens, will absolutely destroy you. Where over here it doesn't do that. So you marrying with a Black woman over here is actually smarter than marrying with even a Black woman in America, because it's the system that's going to fuck you over. Not so. I mean, we're going to break up no matter what in most cases anyway. But you can't break up equitably the way you can over here in the Netherlands versus the way it is in America, and the way that they'll degrade you, and even as your child support and all that shit is inhumane. And even white people are now speaking about this, like, hey, this is so if it's happening to white people in America, just believe it's even worse for Black people in America, for Black men.
Let me read this super chat real quick. Another $5 super chat for Shao Khan. He said, I'm pro-Black, but I want have Black children. Makes no sense. Again, with another super chat, Shao Khan says, when I found almost all Afro-Latinas love white males or have been cracked by white male Latinos, I crossed Afro-Latinas off my list. I'm sticking to Afro. Hey, you go to Kenya, you're gonna see a lot of
right. You definitely gonna see that, man.
They getting cracked. Sure. Look, people try to say that Black men are the most sought after race of men on the planet, because of interracial porn, and that's what they source, right? And it's like, no, the white man is still when they listen, but that's a whole nother topic. Again, I just don't think that if a woman, it's realistic that she's already had sex with somebody outside of her race. You're just asking for a lot. It's like asking a woman's body count number. It's gonna be a lie. Asking a woman this question is gonna be more than likely she already has. So that means 95% of the women are red flags.
It depends on proximity, bro. This depends on proximity. That's the big thing. I feel like less likely in the United States, less likely that a Black woman is going to have slept with a white guy, because most white men don't, you know what I'm saying? Right. They're not sleeping with the average sister, let's say that. The average, no, that's not happening on a large number. That's why I laugh at the divestiture movement. Like, median man covers it up all the time, bro. Like, the numbers aren't there. So
you see how cartoon media, right? Like Final Space and all these cartoons are now kind of pushing for like nerdy white dudes to hook up with Black chicks, right?
I'm in the commercials too.
Have you noticed that trend?
Too. Netflix too. I see
the Great North, like in the last 15 or the last 10 years, they've kind of made that where the nerdy white dude is the love interest of a Black woman.
Yeah, it's all over
happening more. It's happening more and more and more.
Yeah, I mean,
trust me, it is.
It's happening more, but I'm just saying, like, the reality of is not happening. As I wouldn't say like like the average Black, like, let's say you had 10 Black women, how many? Maybe 3 slept with a white dude.
Liars, 7 at least. 7.
No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Nowhere near that number, bro.
It depends what region. Like I only can speak of where I grew up at. The
nowhere near that number.
Okay, in the state of California, in the entire state of California, you would say that that's true.
That might
That's
be
a Cali,
if
bro.
you
But
surveyed them and they had to tell the truth or they got shot. Like they had to tell the truth.
I doubt it in Compton. You know what I'm saying? I doubt in certain regions where people like for instance, like I'm from Detroit.
One
You
time
barely
you
even
don't think
come
they did it.
across white people
One time
sometimes.
you don't think they.
Nah, dude, it ain't happening like that, man. No,
Especially if she,
Do you agree to
especially if she
that?
look good.
Do you also wait before we? Do you also agree to that, or do you think my 7 is closer or his 3 is closer?
I think his 3 is close. If we talking about black
Black
Americans,
American, yeah.
Yes, black women. Yes, I'm talking about black
Yeah.
Americans. Yes.
Yeah, bro. It's not as high as you think it is, dude.
and I'm not
It's not.
exclude African Americans and Caribbean Americans. I'm talking about FBA women at the core.
They have. Yes, they have. Yes,
No,
they have.
He
Yes.
said 70%. You saying 70%?
yeah,
At least
no
once.
way.
Yes. At
No
least
way.
once.
The numbers
Yes.
don't support that. The numbers don't support it, bro.
What
I mean,
numbers? What are you talking about? The
it's less
numbers don't
than
support.
zero.
Wait. What
Well,
numbers,
I'm just
sir, are
saying
you
what
talking about?
okay. So for instance, right?
Okay.
There of white men that are married to black women, right, is
I'm just talking about
0.05%.
a sexual encounter.
Okay, but
even the most.
even
Remember how I
even
said you can be pro? Remember how I said you can be pro-white, right? And still, and even the most racist white men would have sex with black women.
of
Do
course,
you agree with that or no?
yes, I agree with that. That don't mean it's happening at a
Okay,
70% clip.
Maybe in certain regions,
I think 30% is too fucking high.
maybe in certain cities, certain regions.
Yeah, certain places. I mean,
I grew
Cali, they ain't, them Negroes out there in Cali different anyway. You know what I'm saying?
I grew up. I lived in urban hood. I lived in hoods where people only time they seen a white person if it's police
Right.
or somebody knocking on their
Okay,
door.
well,
Right.
did you ever spend time in places that weren't the hood, where it's not even like kind of like a suburb where
Yes.
people went to school together and it
Yes.
was normal?
Yes, I have. I was. Yes, there were the few black girls at the time when I was going. I lived in a suburb called Lincoln Park. It's in the southwest. The southwest is the south of Detroit. Huh?
No, go ahead. No,
Some of you laughing at somebody in the comment.
no, I'm reading super chat. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you know what I mean. And it was like at this time.
Let's let me read the super chat. That's a $10 one. We got to let him read that.
Salute to Shao Kahn. And just side note, me and him argue back and forth. He claims that Black American women are more divestors than African women.
They are.
I say African women are
I
more.
don't think so. I don't think so either.
let me read his comment. He said, "Don't let me come on, guys, to shock you all with facts. Black women have more sex with white men than black males have seen with white women. White males just don't marry the black woman."
I don't see it, bro. I'm just, my anecdotal, 45 years of life.
Listen, I've worked in restaurants all over America. I've worked in bars. I've seen us hooking up. I've seen them hooking. I've seen it all my life and all my travels and everywhere that I've gone. I've bartended. What city? Where do y'all live? What state are you guys in?
Right now, I'm currently in Detroit, Michigan.
Okay. What about you? What state are you in?
I'm gonna just name the cities I lived in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just name a city you've lived in the past.
I live in Philadelphia now, Chicago, Houston, New York. I wouldn't defend New York in that situation. But Houston, Chicago, Milwaukee, and Philly.
Okay, New York. I bartended in Sylvia's Soul Food. I also bartended and worked at Mobay's on 125th Street in Harlem. So I've done events there. So when you talk about New York,
Black immigrant majority place. I want to put that context around it.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, no. Yeah, New York City is a bad example. It has to be a place where it's like majority of white people. So no, New York City would be a bad example for this. For what I'm saying, but when it's a different kind of suburb, the sisters have had sexual relations at least once with somebody white. Now, if we're talking about New York City, if you're talking about in urban Compton, then that number might be what you guys are talking about. 3 out of 10.
I'm gonna text 10 random black females in my phone this weekend and ask them, "Have you ever slept with a white dude?"
They're gonna say no. Because they're embarrassed by it. They're gonna say no because they have to have the shot talk.
I think it's less of an embarrassment
or something where it's like where
it's
that's the only way you'll get the true answer.
it's a less of an embarrassment now than it was before, bro. So like, I don't think so, man.
No,
Like, honestly,
women don't want to admit that shit, man. They just
yeah,
don't.
yeah, they would. I think it's a flex now. You know what I'm saying? So,
Not for most. Not for most. It's just a
man,
flex for
I'm gonna ask
minority.
them if they just know. Do you guys
you didn't
friends that
even
say
know
they
a
like
white
new
dude.
boys?
You know what I'm saying? Like on that level, like
Let me just kind of
mhm,
hone in
on the topic.
on a premise. So
Okay.
black men, there's a lot of black men that that are only that are primarily interested in Afro Latinas,
Mm-hmm.
for example, right? Or let's say Afro or black women.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's disheartening because once you say if you're a passport bro and you say you know what I I fuck with Latinas but I prefer Afro Latinas or black women around the world. It's disheartening because you're presenting yourself as basically a pro black when it comes to dating, and then you meet a woman and she says that she's open to all races. It's kind of disheartening because you're like, damn, she not, I mean, she not like me, you know.
But if she was like you, she wouldn't date you.
Why
Yes,
you
you
say
will.
that?
I mean, because if she's all about her culture and only that, then she wouldn't be entertaining
No,
you. You're
no.
saying like
But
No,
brother, he
she's
wait,
didn't say
pro
that.
black.
He said he's just pro. No, being pro black can, doesn't mean that you're pro your lineage or pro your culture. You're just saying, hey, I just want to be with a black person of any type of culture or lineage. That's what he's saying.
okay, oh okay, I thought
You know what I
okay,
mean? That's more Pan Africanism than anything. Which
okay,
usually which usually are pretty closely linked. You know what I'm saying? Being pro black as well as being Pan African, right? Usually they're typically side by side. Now we're seeing like more black people saying, hey, I'm with my lineage. More black Americans saying, hey, I'm a freeman, or I'm FBA, or I'm ADOS, or what have you, and really calling that out because every other culture, every other black culture in the United States makes that distinction. And so now we're claiming ours, and now it's an issue. But either or, I feel that I don't think you could be both, in my opinion. You could be a freedman, FBA, ADOS, or whatever, and be
Now,
also Pan
now
African.
you know what may sound hypocritical is
Mm-hmm.
if I was interested in a white girl and she said she only they black guys, I'm not interested.
Yeah, I've had that plenty of times, dude. That's
she can't be
plenty of
she
times
can't be
you witness that.
I
You
can't be
can't be
with a
with a
white
white
girl.
girl that only dates black dudes.
No, hell no. I
Hey,
want to
I
be
don't
the
want to be
first
with
one.
a white girl that feels like she's like she acts like a black chick. Like that to me is a turn off, bro. I'm okay with a white girl that only dates black guys. Because be honest with you, I'm never gonna take a non-black person serious. It'll be just like recreational fun, that type of thing. Period. So
but
you
what
know
if
what I'm
you act,
saying,
what if you recreationally have fun and have a baby? Does that make you any less
man?
of? That's
It
how. Hey,
does. It
most of
does,
us are
bro.
mistake babies on this planet anyway. Let's keep it 100.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I mean, you was recreationally having fun. What if one of them recreational funds you made a baby?
Hey,
Does that
man.
make you any less pro?
It does, bro. It
You
does.
can't
It
be
I'm,
a
does.
I'm
spokesman.
about to I have to
Hmm.
keep it consistent. It does. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, like for me, I purposely, you know what I'm saying? When I was in the phase, okay, yeah, I want to go ahead. I'm gonna start having kids. It was like in my 30s, in my late 20s, 30s. I'm like, I'm ready for that. You know what I mean? I purposely did not want to have a baby with a non-black woman because I'm like,
Let me interject real quick. This is not a bastard kid you made. This is a kid you
yes,
recreationally having fun. Wait,
yes,
just give me a
man.
second.
Yes.
You recreationally having fun, but your side, the family, like you were raised, you are in this kid's life. You didn't make a family with her,
Right.
but
I
you
get it, bro.
co-parent. You got 50-50
I
custody,
get it.
right? Like
I get it. I don't know. I don't want to do. I
it's
don't want to do it, man. Because I'm gonna be
no.
honest with you.
I'm just trying to find out if you've done all that. You'll still be less pro-black if
Yes,
you
I
raise that
think
kid
so.
because
I think so.
you're light skinned, sir. You're light skinned yourself.
Yeah,
So so your kid is going to probably have the same kind of complexion as you.
man. I got.
So
Listen,
just okay.
I've gotten. I literally have 5 children now. Three girls, 2 boys. You know what I'm saying? one, you know what I'm saying, one of my daughters is by an Eritrean woman. She's like, you know, my daughter's lighter than both of us. You know what I'm saying? I get it. You know what I mean? The thing is that here's the thing for me personally, right? Having been around mixed race people, having seen my homies have, you know, been in marriages with white women, having mixed race kids, bro, it's a freaking toss up about who they're going to be as far as whether they're going to be either pro-black or they're going to be more cultured to their white side. They're going to be confused. You know what I'm saying? And me personally, I didn't want to, and this may sound crazy, and you know, forgive me for those who might be offended, but like I saw that firsthand, and I'm like, I don't want to participate in that. I don't want to you know, put that upon my children being conflicted about, am I white? I'm not black enough to be black. I'm not white enough to be white. I don't know what I am. Blah blah blah. You know, I don't want no Meghan Merkles, bro. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to have that type of. I don't want to contribute to that. You know what I'm saying? At all. You know what I mean? I don't want to bring a child to have all these different issues and trying to figure it out or whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Like, what if something happens to me and I die? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not there to instill that, you know what I'm saying, that culture or blackness, you know what I'm saying? Right. And, you know, and it's only now is only, you know what I'm saying, the mother, we already know most of the time the mothers go with the, you know, the children go with the mothers irregardless, you know, of race or color or creed, you know what I mean? So they typically, their family is going to have much more of a say in the rearing of that child most of the time when they're separated. Like I've been with a white girl who was married, had two boys, you know what I'm saying? They were like 3 and 5, you know what I mean? And probably, like I said, for the most part, her kids were around her family, you know what I mean? And it's just like, nah, dude, me personally, I'm like, you know, haven't seen mixed kids up close, you know what I mean? Not no far away type thing, up close. I'm like, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I just don't, you know, and that's, you know, that's my preference. Not saying, I'm not trying to shame anybody who has done that, or who has made that decision. That's okay. I'm just saying for me personally, I'd rather not have that. It's hard enough being Black American enough, you know what I'm saying, than to have that on top of it. That's just me.
But it's not like, okay, most men are not getting a chance to pass on this Black culture. You know, it's mainly the women in our community, right? So is the Black culture really a Black community culture? Is it actually more of a capitalistic television culture? But what's really our culture? It's you know, what really guides us in our day-to-day, what we actually do, and our temperament. And are we on code for something larger? Like you might see maybe the Turkish community, or are we actually just give me a second, because if you're pro-Black, I think you would not want to even. This system in America has made us toxic. And I think that if you're pro-Black, you see there are Black people in other systems that are better for your lineage in making a family. Because if we keep it 100,
I agree.
Not many people in our community are growing old together in this idea of marriage shit.
I completely agree with you, brother. That's why me personally, I feel like going, you know, getting with somebody and raising my family of those who are willing to come. Because at this point, you know, I'm split, right? I have, you know, kids here in America, but my end goal, my end goal in life is to retire in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be Kenya or South Africa.
What if you found a woman in America and you took her to Africa and got married there? Boom, that's pro-Black. But getting married in the American system, you're not a pro. You're amateur. You're college level Black.
But that's a different. I mean, respectfully, that's a different caveat. So I want to stand
I'm just trying to see who's the pro-Black.
Right. But we're talking about pro-Black men that seek Black women overseas, and if those women have the same dating preference that we have. You know, if she doesn't have the same dating preference we have, is that a red flag? That's we can go outside the realm, but long as it ties back to that.
Logically speaking, it just can't be, because it's not logical. Again, when you really break it down to it, it might be you might emotionally think it's not a red flag, but if you logically break it down, it's not. It's just that you think it's a red flag, and you might even be a little bit hypocritical on it in some of your things.
I
But
might be.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
If I date a white, if like I said, if I was to date a white woman and I prefer her, and I prefer to be the only black man she's ever experienced, then that means that I want her to like me for who I am, not because I'm black, right?
Yeah.
So I'm asking a white woman, or I'm wanting I would want a white woman that wants me because of my personality or whatever, right? But not because I'm black. But on the flip side, I'm asking a black woman, an Afro-Latina or African woman, to give me preference because I'm black. You know, so that does sound hypocritical because I don't put that same requirement on a white woman because I'm disgusted if a white woman had other black men, but I'm disgusted if I see other black women with a non-black woman. You know what I mean? So,
hey, accountability is the first step to clarity.
but that's
We got who's a new brother to join, man.
Yeah, Mr. Yeah, he paid for the show. Let me shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Mr. Shao Kahn was good, man.
Hi everyone. Nice background, no excuse. So yeah, I'm just listening right now, but that's why, in the beginning I first used to go to I thought, all black women are the same. So I went to Colombia. I was like, okay, I'll get an Afro Colombian there. But when I realized that almost all of them, they worship, and I heard that debate where you guys were saying maybe on TikTok they like to say maybe they've been with a white guy, but when I speak to them and I ask them, have you been with a white guy? They always deny it. Why is that?
Because they're embarrassed by it.
Exactly, because they know if you are trying to think of them as marriage material, at least for me, once you tell me you've been cracked by, a white guy, it's a no go for me. So that's why they don't say it.
It's the same thing if you ask them if they've had a bisexual experience. They're gonna lie. More than half had. And I'm talking about black women. Black women are way more bisexual than we actually think.
You think so?
Yeah. I agree with you on that, bro.
But white dude, to be fair, white dudes say it too. White dudes tell white women, like a lot of white dudes say if she been with a black dude, he don't want no parts of it. So it ain't. I don't want to make it seem like
but a lot of white dudes, it used to be the culture that white dudes had their first experience with a black woman,
right?
Yeah,
and it's still a thing.
And I said something, you guys said no, it's not true. I said white black female, and I don't want to go to off topic, but you guys said that when I put in the comment section that black females have more SEX with white males than black males have more XEX than white females. The only thing that you guys don't, the only thing is it's hidden. So it's because they like No Excuse now or the other guests on the show, they go out with a white girl, people see it. But when a white guy smashes a black girl, it's hidden. They don't carry them out in public. But in terms of SEX, black females have always had more SEX with white males than the other way around.
I don't know because we got.
I think that's true. When it begins on what context we're talking about in the Black American context. Of course, that was true up until integration or what have you. Of course, white men have always had access to black women. From the time we came here in bondage, that's always been the case. Even believing, the octoroom and quadroom balls in Louisiana, New Orleans. Like you said, it was a rite of passage to sleep with, black women, whether there be a prostitution, whatever the case may be. Yeah, that's why, to me personally, this whole idea that everybody was raped, raped or what have you, in the past, I don't believe that. I don't believe that was the case. I guarantee you, was a lot of black women, who were in bondage that took that advantage to be with a white man and all the privileges that came with. I don't think all of it was non-consensual. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
No, exactly. Like they like to make it seem like everything was great and they didn't want to do is baloney.
Mm, no.
Some of it was, but some of it because that makes no sense. Like because how can the most powerful white males are the most powerful right now? I say in the US, or they are the most. How can a woman be like if women go for the most powerful males? These people are the most powerful males. So why would she say no to the most powerful male? No, it's power. It's just that's just how it is. Hypergamy.
I don't
that's
like.
how it's
I don't.
all. Wait, 1 second. That's how it's always been in war. When the men conquer a people, and they get the women. The women, they don't go away screaming. They go away like, okay, like they switch real quick. That's always how it's been. So it's the same thing here.
Exactly. Because I want to just to buttress your point, what you just said, sir. There was, I think, in Germany when they invaded France and they conquered the French, right?
Mhm.
Within like I can't remember how many months, the women started spreading their legs for the Germans that killed their own men. They
Yeah.
started spreading their legs for them. So they killed your husband, they killed your son, and the women. But when the French event, I think when America, I can't remember who supported the French, and they finally defeated the Germans. Um, so for punishment for the females, they shaved their head, but the men that betrayed their group, I think they killed them. Same thing in Japan when America defeated Japan, and killed the men, all that stuff. The Japanese women were spreading their legs for white dudes.
But the difference,
You know,
but in my opinion, the difference between black women that went through,
Oh,
that went through
and
slavery in the U.S., we were the most rebellious group of people. Like,
no, no, they just say that. That's the lie. They
no
weren't.
excuse is in denial. That is in
Sir,
denial. He doesn't
that's
want to
the folk
accept.
tale that we like to believe.
He's in
it is
denial. No
no,
excuses in denial.
it is. I'll put it. Let me. I'm gonna give you
Give
real
me
life
you're gonna give me an
example.
example. Just think about how war
Let,
and all this shit,
let me rock.
human
Let me
nature,
let
how
me
humans behave. But
bro.
we're
Let
not a
me
mythical.
let me rock.
The
Let me
women are
rock.
just like other women, man.
Let me rock. Let me rock
Okay.
for. All right.
Let him rationalize. Let's hear.
All right. So, Black American women have always still carry this resentment, disdain for the oppressor, right? And I've seen it myself. I've seen it. We've seen it characterized in film and movies. If you put a black, you ever seen? If a white person come pick up a black baby, that black baby just instinctively cries. They look at, even when I was young and I used to see, a white, some white man knocking at the door. Kids, especially young girls, they inherently look at white men as bad. They look them in a position of fear and not embrace. You go to other
Dude,
societies.
they have a white Jesus on their walls from their
Let
grandma.
me
What are you
let me
talking about?
let me let me
Wait,
finish.
Exactly. Thank
Let
you.
me
bruh.
finish. Let me
You
finish.
think they're not sexually attracted to that white Jesus?
let, let me finish. Let me finish. Growing up in urban Black America, it is passed down generationally to have uh, this resentment towards white. You see it in how kids. You see it even in how young girls interact with white people. It's not like you see in Africa where a white man comes and you see all these little kids running towards a white man. That's not that. I've never seen that type of admiration in Black America.
Man,
So I've never seen it. I don't know if Gerard have seen it, but
No,
I've
no
never seen
excuse.
it.
no,
Why you in
we don't,
denial?
we don't. No, we don't, man.
Even when it
He's
comes
correct. We're
to
just talking about our experience. You know what I'm saying?
even
Like,
when it comes to daycare, most Black families don't want white people uh, babysitting their kids, watching their kids. We have, like I said, from my cultural being in urban Black America, that is ingrained in us. You know what I mean, from conception. Like, you know what I mean, like, so it's foreign to me that you're saying. Now I can't speak for this current generation. You know what I mean, but I can say the way I grew up, and I'm an '80s baby. I never seen it. I've seen
Okay.
it
So
in
so so if
Africa.
we
I'm
go,
talking
if
about
we go,
people 25 and under mainly, sir.
so so
Not
so if
people in
we
our generation.
Well, the thing, sir, is that even that 25 or under, they want to say it's the new generation. It's that thing is a lie. They've always been smashing white dudes under the curtain. There's this why do you think black females are different from all kinds of females? I mean, I used to say the only reason why black dudes are even getting some play is because why, like for example, Asian guys complain because white dudes are smashing their girls, but
Mm-hmm.
the only reason why we get some play, I would argue, is because white dudes don't want to marry black guys personally. I mean, black females. If they did the same way they liked Asians, you guys would be
But
crying right now.
you know, for the
That's
audience
true.
knows he
I don't think black. I don't think white. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go, bro. I just don't think
No,
white men. White men are
if
not
that
messing with black
if that
women in the same
happened,
way they messing with
no, no,
Asians.
Shao,
no,
Shao
but he's
Kahn is
saying
Shao
if that
Kahn is not
happened,
American. Shao Kahn is not American. Never lived in America, so he's going off of
I'm in
online
America
research.
right now, but I'm not American. Yes.
no, wait,
Nah,
no,
man.
no,
White dudes would not mess.
wait, no,
White dudes
we
don't
know
mess
they
with
wouldn't,
Asians.
but I'm
No.
just saying, let's just say somehow that something flipped and they did, and white dudes all of a sudden became super attracted to all black women, big, mean, didn't matter. Like it was a revolution of
Yeah,
white
hey,
dudes
they
wanted
they
to
going,
marry.
they crossing, they crossing over, bro. Yeah, they crossing
Okay,
over,
okay,
man.
You
they
had
leaving
you
us
had
ASAP.
you had you had black women in the Jim Crow era where they walked 10 miles to school where you was told to be, you had to walk, make sure you walk in at least groups of two or more people because the fear of white men, the fear of lynching, the fear of being whatever was instilled. So black women always grew up with to fear white men. That's have been our bread and butter. So how we
You
break
can't
out
say
of
always now, Sam. 'Cause, look, it's like, you think black women 30 and under have that kind of fear of
if you
white
was
men?
if you raised like how would they break out? How would they have broken out of that if they was raised like, especially women that grew up
Being
in the
raised around white people. You're speaking about people. I'm an '80s babies too, so yes, we had remnants of the shit that happened in the '70s, and we know the stories of it. But the people who are 30 and under, those black people, those black women, and even though the person, I kind of agree with him as well, but they've been cracking white dudes since, yo, Zach Morrison and Saved by the Bell.
and
You think think about sisters and all they white crushes. Come on, man.
30 and
Come
under
on, not
is
once.
okay. 30 and under is not a fair age group for me to assess because
Whoever
that
grew up on Saved by the Bell, black women who grew up watching Saved by the Bell
So you
and
talk
21 Jump Street, even there.
30 and
That
under be somebody born in 1995. So that's literally 30 years ago. 1995.
okay. Sorry, then I'm going. I'll say 40. 40 then. Uh,
no,
uh,
because now you moving the
the, the,
goalposts.
okay.
40 will be 85, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it just depends on how I feel like if you're suburban black, it's different if you were urban black.
Right,
You know what
exactly.
I
Very
mean?
different.
It's
Yes.
completely different, bro. If you suburban black, especially if you suburban black in the 80s, you were probably one of few black families, if any, that were living around white people. You know what I'm saying? You were in the
Yeah.
upper echelons of black people in some form of corporate government job, whatever that you were living around whites in the 80s. That's now obviously that's changed.
And don't forget the country, because
I'm
I'm
gonna
from
answer your
Oklahoma.
question.
The black women
Yeah.
definitely had sex with white dudes in Oklahoma. In my age group,
Mm.
absolutely they did.
Yeah,
Oklahoma
well, but
don't.
I think Detroit that wasn't happening
Oklahoma
like
don't.
that.
I get it because you had a
Oklahoma
different
don't count.
infrastructure. And what's
Oklahoma
up?
don't count. I'm not gonna count Oklahoma, man.
Why does Oklahoma count?
I'm just joking. I know there's urban cities in Oklahoma, but
Dude, Oklahoma's one of the blackest states, actually, man.
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah,
No, you're
yeah.
right. You're right.
Because
I can't.
Trail of Tears and
Yeah.
and then
Look
post
at my
slavery,
peanut head.
black people went out there.
I'm true foundational black American. Look at this
Right.
peanut head. This is indigenous. I ain't got no hair. It's horrible. I can't grow no beard. You more African with look at this. This is FBA right here, man. Look at this curse.
But
The
that's
curse of FBA.
that's the disconnect we having because, like I said, I lived in urban areas.
Mm-hmm.
I went to historically black colleges, and
Mm-hmm.
so the notion of them like even creeping his sleep, there was no access like that. Like
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just it's
when
hard
they
to
went
even conceptualize.
the girls. I'm from a HBCU. When they went to those white colleges, oh, they got cracked by the white dudes.
How do these
No
girls
excuse.
look? Like,
No
how do these
excuse.
girls look?
No
How do
excuse.
these girls look?
No excuse. Why is this? What, like, I feel you have, as a male, you have to be able to accept some bitter truths, no matter how painful
I
it is.
haven't
You have,
seen it though. You're looking at TikTok
Why
videos.
would you
I haven't
see it?
seen it.
Where would you see it? It's secret. Yo, they move in silence, player. We brag about it. They don't brag. They brag about it on their golf courses. We ain't hanging out with them like that.
women in general, yeah, exactly like
When they get
sarcastic
around
mean.
each other until they've all been cracking sisters, man.
Women in general, they don't brag about. That's guys in general. If I ask you, no excuse, how many girls have you smashed? You might tell me, I know you're a legend, maybe like 1,000. You know, but if you ask a girl in Colombia, oh, how many girls you smashed? You probably say like
They
10.
gonna lie.
Whereas you
They gonna
probably
lie.
smash like 2,000.
They gonna
They
lie.
just naturally don't brag about who they sleep with. It's just who they are.
But we know they're gonna lie about body count. That's just
Right,
something
right. We just
ingrained
saying
in us.
we're just talking about proximity, bro. You know what I'm saying? Proximity, and and again, it's just anecdotal. These are two different experiences. And, I've been in the military. You know what I mean? I've been in the South. I was stationed in Hawaii for my first 3 years, or whatever. I know black women will sleep with white dudes, but majority of black women are not sleeping with
Yeah,
white because
majority.
That's crazy.
majority of white dudes don't really like fuck with black chicks like that.
It don't take a majority of them to do it.
Man, you said 7 out of 10. That's a majority, bro.
I'm talking about for the women. The majority of white dudes don't need to be ones cracking the majority of. It can be a few white dudes who
Let me
cracking the sisters.
Oh,
let me read this
so you
question.
said white?
Let me read this. Let me read this question
Is that not making sense?
because it's gonna tie into another point I want to
All
make.
right.
Dan asks, he said, do African women prefer white men due to perceived wealth or do they want mixed kids? So,
Both.
Both,
Both.
both.
mm,
Same way like Asians.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing like Asians do the same. They because there's more benefits for their kids being more white than Asian.
Mm-hmm.
Asians women are doing the exact same thing.
from my Black American experience,
Mm-hmm.
Black women, most Black women I know are of darker skin, so most of them like their blackness. They want to create black babies. It's usually the men that want, at least from my peer group, wanting mixed kids. It's usually the black men that want
I
kids.
don't know
That
where you're
doesn't mean
hanging
they
out,
haven't had sexual
That's not
relations with them, man. They still have had sex with them.
okay.
I don't
Okay,
think
no
black
excuse.
women. Go ahead.
If I go online now, I go on YouTube and I type in interracial relationships. Which one do you think I'm going to see more of? Like the black female and the black male and the
With
white
with
male,
the
or the opposite? And
algorithm on the push.
well, two. Which one do you think gets a lot of viewers? Like right now on YouTube.
Of course, it's gonna
Oh,
be the
black
women because
women with white men. Yeah, they pushing
There you
that right
go.
now. They're pushing that. They are pushing that a lot. But to me, it's like
Have you
that
seen them
shows the
in Facebook? Have you
artificialness
seen
of
it
it.
in Facebook groups? That's real engagement. Have you seen it? I've seen them in Facebook groups with black women wanting white dudes.
Yeah,
And
I'm not on Facebook as much anymore. But
no excuses. Have you seen it on Facebook groups?
I mean, usually the female groups are private, and if they talk about that, it's in private.
Okay, well, I've been access to some, and I've seen it where it'll be a white dude and tons of black women shooting a shot, or black women trying to get it's happening, bro.
Yeah.
I agree
Ginger
with
is
you
And it's
now.
Ginger is
happening
now
way
black.
more
I
than you
totally agree
think.
with you. What's happening now, bro? I
Ginger
totally
is black.
agree with you.
Did you hear that now?
I'm sorry, brother.
Gingers are black. Gingers are black. Did you see that trend?
Gingers are black, like meaning like guys with red hair are black.
Yeah.
Well, so white boys with red hair. So Andy Dalton, the quarterback.
Yeah. I'm sorry, that's a huge trend on TikTok. All the guy, there's one thing, all the black guy, all the white guy needs to do is just maybe dance some Afro beat song or just say, I like chocolate, and you see the girls, oh, he's invited to the cookout. Huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, you're seeing it now. You
But they
definitely.
doing it out of I think a lot of women are doing it out of rejection though too, because when you reject it, you tend to reject a person before they reject you. That's your defense mechanism. So
No, I think before they were actually resenting but they deep down had a sexual attraction to it in the past, but tried to deny it.
no, because
Now they're just open about
this is
it
what
and just okay.
because women, cause women at the core, and when I got into the offline debates, women having conversation in private, their number one reason why they say that they stick with black men the most, they say the penis size. So if black women, and this is especially in the United States, you ask about penis size in any other country, it's not as important as black American women. So if black
I
American
disagree.
women, if black American women say penis size is very important to them, that in itself pretty much limits them to majority
Bro,
black
if
men.
penis size was the main thing, then like if I go to Colombia now, I should be getting chicks left and right
Well, we're
easily.
talking we're
But
talking about the U.S. I said other countries women don't prioritize penis size like America, like
how
black.
can you, bro? How can
So if
so
you're a white
I-
dude in America and you're packing, you don't think a lot of sisters will want to you be able to pick them
Yeah,
off?
he might be
okay,
the exception. Yeah, he'd be the exception, but they have the
then sir,
stereotype,
So
and they're not going to even give him a chance.
then sir, why are
you need to
Korean
spend some time with women who are drunk and being honest. I don't think that I don't think you've ever been privy to hear how sisters are really talking, the way they really talk.
okay,
I think
Let me ask y'all this.
either you've been the party too much and they've appeased you, but you've never been in their environment when they are actually being honest about they shit.
So is
okay,
penis,
I'll give you
You need
this.
to do that a little bit. No
so is
excuses.
penis, so is penis. So you don't think penis size is important to Black American women?
Absolutely, it is.
There's more is important, but there are more things that are more important for females. SCX is not the main thing for females. It is for us, but it's not for them.
Perceiving of
Black American
power,
women, it is.
perceiving of power and resources, and you don't think a lot of sisters can crack their boss, bruh,
Exactly.
one
That doesn't
time?
mean that they would cheat on no women. In my opinion, women less.
Listen, man, they've been sleeping with white dudes, man. It's okay. It's okay. You can
Yeah,
still love
there's
them. It's
But
okay
you
though,
said
it's okay.
curiosity,
bruh.
It's
But
though.
it's
okay.
happened.
What you saying they're doing out of curiosity or lust, but lust has to be tied to penis size too. And Black women in America have
Oh, so
proclaimed
so
Bruh,
they have lost
you are
that
making this
no
way too.
excuse. They
Your
have
simplicity is so complicated. It's ridiculous.
no excuse is in denial. He's in
You've
denial.
made this so simple and yet it's so complicated,
No
fam.
excuse. No excuse.
They
See
do.
something, eh? If a
Okay, go
Korean guy,
ahead,
if a
Sean.
Korean guy, sorry, if a Korean guy, I think no excuse is like over 6 feet, right? I think.
Mhm, mhm,
Yeah. If a Korean guy that is 5'9" and because Koreans are trending right now, and you ask the black girl out in say Florida, for example, or
mhm,
Texas, who do you think she's gonna go out with?
mhm. Hold on. Repeat your question real quick.
Okay, if a Korean guy, right,
Mhm,
asks a black guy, a black girl out in Florida or Texas right now, and you, guy over 6 feet, yeah, ask the same girl, same black girl out, who do you think most likely the girls are gonna go out with? The black girls are gonna go out with right now?
The black guy,
The
black man.
black guy over 6 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, no, because I saw this on I saw
I
this
think you overthinking
on
this.
I saw this on TikTok the other day. This girl was saying this
Yeah, I
black
ain't got no
American
issue with dating black women.
she was saying that she rejected a 6'5" engineering Nigerian guy in the US for a 5'9" white guy. And in the comment section, people were like, and she was saying she regretted it because the white guy eventually dumped her. But people in the comments, the black girls in the comments, weren't saying. They were saying, "How could you say that out? Don't tell that to the whole world." They were more angry that she's exposing it rather than it happened. That's a 6'5" engineering black guy versus a 5'9" white guy. Why are you guys in denial?
But he was Nigerian. So, like, you know, that's, I mean, for a black American, a Nigerian may be a step down from a white guy. You know what I'm saying? So,
but even if this is true, even if it was true, right? Okay, black women secretly sleep with white men. I wouldn't. I still consider black American women pro-black at the core. I still
you talking about that part? You talking about just in general, or a black woman that sleeps with a white dude? You saying she could still be pro-black? That's what you're telling me?
Heck
What
no.
does pro-black mean to you? Maybe how are a majority of black women pro-black? What does pro-black mean to you?
They create black babies. Women are responsible to.
So it doesn't have to do with anything about creating infrastructure for the community or being you can be a ratchet ass chick and be pro-black.
I mean, you could cut me off.
So you're saying a chick can be ratchet as fuck.
You hear the first statement. You not letting me finish though.
Can a gangbanger be a gangbanger? Can he be pro-black?
You can let me finish.
He can what?
You can let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
For a black woman are pro-black because one, they maintain the black culture. You know what I mean? They pass down black culture. Majority of black women have black babies. Two, a lot of black women do be at the forefront of certain civil rights moves. When a black man typically gets, let's say, unalived by police, it's usually the black woman that's in numbers, that's in larger numbers than a lot of times black men when it comes to that. They're the one that's more vocal when it comes to issues, when it comes to defending. I talked about this a lot of times. Like, if I have an issue at a restaurant with customer service, you know, I get more results by putting a black woman in that position to take care of that situation. So there's a lot of instances where women exhibit pro-blackness. Even in these diaspora wars, you know, on TikTok, once women start getting involved with it, they taking it to a whole nother level. Like, they cooking black women.
So
Everybody.
So if a black woman puts their man on child support, and if he doesn't pay it, she's fine with him going to jail. Is she still pro-black?
So we're looking at we're looking at
just answer a woman has a baby with a black man, an American black man, and she puts him on this crazy amount of child support that's the man is damn near dying trying to make. And if he can't have a conversation with her about, hey, yo, and she says, I don't, if you don't pay this shit, you go to jail. Is she pro-black? Can she be pro-black?
She's unconsciously competing against her own interests. She will have a black baby.
Just asking, can she be pro-black? Yes or no?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. That's okay. All right. Cool. Okay.
Because her intentions are to be pro-black.
That makes sense.
Her actions may not align with it, but her intentions are to be. That's her intentions are to be pro-black.
Hey, Rob, I'm gonna get off, man. It's been great.
Wait, no, don't you leave. Wait. Before you leave, hold up. Who do you agree with? What this little debate we just had? Who are you siding with before you leave?
Yeah, that's not pro-black in my opinion. No. But no, it's not pro-black. But here's definitely what I end with this. Like I said before, I feel that if you are going to procreate with someone that of the non-black race, no matter the lineage, I don't believe you can really say that you're pro-black. Now you may say you're pro your gender. You could say, hey, I'm pro-black males because I am a black male, and you can do things and to support black males. And I think the same if you're a woman. Hey, you get with a white guy, or you get with a Latino, Arab, whatever, and you all procreate and have children or have you stay in a committed relationship with that non-black man.
And we got somebody new too. I got to get them in. Go ahead.
Yeah. I feel like you could maybe say, hey, usually most of the time you typically see that they are pro their female gender, right? They're pro black women. They're pro for they'll speak up for black women's causes and things of that nature. But I don't think you could say that you could be pro black the actual family unit if you choose not to reproduce, in one. You know what I mean? At the bare minimum, I'm not saying that's the end all and be all. Producing a black family is makes you pro-black, but it's definitely a requirement, in my opinion, to say you're pro-black, because you have to be pro both black, men and women being in a family structure, raising children. That's one of the major components in being pro-black. Not the only, but one of the major ones. And I'll end on that.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yep.
Take care.
All right, then.
Let me get before we get. Let me get Mr. Miyagi in the building, man. What's good, man?
Yeah, what's up?
How you
I've
doing?
been watching doing pretty well. I've been watching your podcast for quite a while now, say about 2 years. And my answer to this question is that, like, honestly, it depends. Now, what I'll say about this is,
sir, don't do that. Don't do that's come on. That's what
let
all
him,
the.
let him rock. Let him.
you
let him
didn't
rock.
you didn't you didn't let me finish. You didn't let me finish. I will say, how can I say this? Like, I would say it just depends on like what her intentions are for the most part. Now, I know you can't really read people's like intentions on why they do things, but sometimes you could get the vibes from how they like why they do things. So, like, for example, if she is doing it because she finds the person just generally attractive, then I don't have no problem with it. But if she's doing it because of like divestiture reasons I see on social media sometimes, like she wants to like better the race, like what that is, with Latin America and all that, then yeah, I would have an issue with that.
That's a good point.
That makes sense.
Point. You can't help who you fall in love with, a lot of reasons. But if I'm pro-black and I meet a black Dominican and she says I'm no black, I'm Dominican, like I'm not I can't rock with that.
Bro, what if she got the yams of yams? Hold up, bro. You've been in the DR, right?
Yeah. Let me let Mr. Miyagi finish any other thoughts before I get into that.
Shit.
But what else I have to say too is that is it Shao Kahn? Is that who was speaking?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm not trying to assault you or nothing. Like I'm really not. But honestly, I would say, like, I agree with the other guy that just came off. He said it's like 3 out of 10 black women that would ever be with a white man or non-black man in general for whatever various reasons, no matter if it's hooking up, dating, or marrying, which I do agree. And honestly, like, the way I view it is that the numbers are just, so small in a way to where I don't think you should be worrying about it. Like, I don't, like, from my experience, even with like the divestiture type black woman, like there've been like instances where I was able to like straight up, like, how Chris Brown song "Mr. Your Girl." Yeah, I've been able to do that too before. So yeah, so I ain't got no issue.
But
I know that's just me.
Thing is trending right now, like black women with white dudes, like they love that stuff. How do you explain that?
Yeah. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you fully. Like, I do agree that there's a black woman that has, like, been keeping it kind of secret, and that's why you see the numbers that you do. But even still, I would say it's overstated at the same time. So, like, yeah, that's just my opinion, though.
So I went to Chat.
Sorry, I went to ChatGPT now, and because me, I like stating some facts here. No excuse. I'm trying to deal with no excuse because him and I debate all the time. So I went to. He said they are the most loyal. He said black women are the most loyal because they have black babies. So I told ChatGPT, tell me the women that have the most interracial children in the US. So, and then he gave me, and I said, put it in percentages. Is between Asian women, white women, Hispanic women, and black women. Guess out of these four, where black women rank for giving birth, for wanting to diverse and have children that are non-black? Take a guess.
Let me guess, black.
Well, okay, this is the ranking. Asian women is 35 to 40% of children are interracial. Black women are second with 20 to 25%. Hispanic women are 15 to 20%, and white women are the least. By this metric here, I would say white women are the most loyal to their men because they want to replicate their own women, so they are pro-white. And Asian women are the least because when they get here, they want everything in their power to get away from Asianness and be more white. And black women are second runner up.
See, this is the problem because me and him debate offline, and he'll bring up stats. Right, these will be websites, but when I bring up stats, they're governmental stats. You know what I mean? And so black women and Asian men are the least men in the United States. And
You said least chosen?
Least married group.
We're talking about least fucked, bro. We're not talking about married. We're talking about had a sexual encounter.
But listen,
you keep going back to marriage.
Hold on. But it's linear. The linearity is still the same. It follows babies as well. So
those are two completely different categories. It's a completely different conversation.
I know, but the rankings stay the same regardless of the stat. When it comes,
no, they don't.
The rankings don't stay the same. It's Asian
the
women.
rankings don't stay the same when you put
them.
If the category is
what government, what okay, government entities keep stats on marriages, right, and race.
Yes, they don't keep stats on. Did you have sexual encounter with a black woman? Did you have sexual encounter with a white? There is no stats on this. It's just common sense.
There's no stats on.
Or you're believing the lie that they keep. Again, you have not spent time with sisters where they're being honest with you. Or okay, have you? Do you think that you have?
But you can't use an argument about stats. But then if there's no,
I'm not making the argument about stats. That was him.
Well, I am making an argument about stats, and the stats here are saying the women that give birth to most interracial children, Asian first.
Then those stats are government stats, though. That's my. It doesn't come from the department.
Okay. What does your government stats say about the interracial children? What does it say about that? How does it different? How is it different from what I'm saying here?
They don't keep data on that.
ChatGPT just give me something right now. ChatGPT.
Wait, I have a question, Shao Kahn. What is ChatGPT saying where it got its sources from? Because like usually with questions like that, they say like where they got the sources.
They'll say the website. They'll give a reference.
Sorry, I'm just asking it now. Say your sources. I'll let you know.
I'm old. I don't do all that ChatGPT. I just use my own philosophies and what I've seen, what I've read, what I think. My theories are my theories. They can be absolutely wrong, but I still stand true.
Most of the mixed kids, not to cut you off, but most of the mixed kids, when I grew up, they had white mothers.
I'm not talking about start having a baby again. The question was, is it a red flag if someone had a sexual encounter with someone who's not? I'm saying that most women have had a sexual encounter with somebody of the other race. So that means most women are red flags.
I have a question. Where do you say you live again?
You talking to me or you talking to
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
I'm Nigerian in the US.
Oh no, I was talking about the other man, like the other guy.
Oh, I'm here in Berlin.
Oh, Berlin. You're in Europe. Like, of course, yeah, the black people and like black men, black women in Europe,
man. Bro. I'm from America, though.
Yeah, like, all right, I get what you're saying, but the reason I asked where you live is because, from my understanding, in Europe, the black people they be swearing like crazy, like as much as like Asians be over here. So, you saying
True,
that, I ain't surprised.
They swirling in America too. They just are secretive about it, man. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Well, let me
I'm not disagreeing that some be secretive, but it's way lower rates than like in Europe, for example.
Most be secretive. Most, not some. Most.
let me
Yeah,
give
like
you you said here are
all
my
right.
sources. You said my sources are from Pew. Well, ChatGPT says from Pew Research, the rise of multicultural and multi-ethnic babies in the U.S. and that's in 2015. Another Pew Research, Harvard and American Academy, blah blah blah. So it's from two sources basically that I got that start from.
The the only thing I'm saying is that if I'm not making it about marriage, I'm not making it about having babies, I'm not talking about trying to even date and have a relationship with. I'm just talking about a sexual encounter, like the topic says. If we do it and keep it on the topic, I will damn near almost say 85 to 80 or even 90% of women have had at least one sexual encounter in their life with someone outside of the black FBA, whatever, or with a white person. The same
I
way that
agree.
I'll say that at least 80% of black women have had at least one bisexual experience growing up, doing something. If a man kisses a man, that's gay. I will say that at least women have done that much with another woman, and that number is at least 80 something percent as well. Would you agree to that?
All right.
No, I would have to disagree. I would say at
I,
most with the
Is a
Like
man
biracial
making
part,
out with another
I would
man?
say
Wait, is a man making out with another man gay?
no excuse.
wait.
Answer that.
This.
Is it
Oh,
wait? Is
huh?
a man making out with another man gay?
No
oh,
excuse.
I thought you were
Yeah, for
asking
me,
about
yeah.
the women. Yeah. With the man, yeah, it's
Wait,
my opinion.
is
I
it
know.
yes or no? Yes or no?
Yeah. It's I don't want to say it
Okay,
on a stream like this, but yeah, it's gay.
okay, no problem. So if a
You
woman
don't
is making
excuse
out with another
everything.
woman,
Yeah,
is that
you
gay
can
as well?
Yeah, but let me. I want to let me
Okay, okay,
hold on.
okay.
Let me do because I don't want to recreate. I don't want to. I want to keep it on the premise that I want to keep it on. I don't want to create a new premise. So when I asked, is it a red flag
Mhm.
for Afro Latinas or Afro women to date outside their race? It's from a context of it's not sex because if a black woman, if an African woman said, I'll have sex with a white man, but I wouldn't marry him and have a baby. I'm okay with that. I don't have an issue with. I don't have as much of an issue with that. So let's keep it. I don't want to keep it around sex. Let's just say that they're a woman being pro-black in the context of having children with, who she would prefer to
But
Yeah.
have
sex is the
children with.
main thing. Though sex is where the damage is done.
But that's not. But that's not what I want to talk about.
Yeah, you talking about marriage or just having kids, right?
Let's just say having kids who they
Oh,
prefer.
okay. No excuse. I'll say this and I'll go. But no excuse. What you're saying right now is this. So because there was a question on TikTok, people were asking some people online. They asked some couple of black guys that who would you
You watch
rather?
a lot of TikTok, bro.
Yes, sorry. I do a lot of driving and I listen to a podcast and stuff like that.
Wait, you're
So
watching TikTok while you're driving?
yeah, you can listen to live stuff while you're driving. Live
You
TikTok.
should be focusing on the driving, man. You be
Man, that's like
man,
texting and driving, man. That's
No,
dangerous.
I don't
right?
text while I'm driving. It's live
He said
shows,
listening.
TikTok
He
live
said
thing.
listening. He said he's listening. He's listening.
All
It's like
right,
He's listening.
yeah,
man.
don't worry.
You can
I have a,
multitask with
Let him
driving and listening to music, but like
let
driving
him
and
let him get
listening
out.
to a show,
Let him
put it
get
like
his
this.
that's
I
point
in,
out.
have a
no.
I have
I'm
a
being a grandpa.
perfect
That sounds dangerous. I'm sorry.
I
You
have
shouldn't be
I
doing.
have okay, I have just so you know, I have a perfect clean record, driving record. So I know what I'm
Okay.
doing. Um so um now it made me lose my train of thought. Okay, um they were asking some black guys like who if you who would you rather go after? Like say your girl has been with five white guys, not at the same time, in the past, or five black guys in the past. Which one would you guys are okay comfortable with if you had to choose one of them?
He said, "How many? Five?
Like
Oh,
like say she's
you're asking us which one we prefer.
yeah, I'm curious. Like which one? Say your girlfriends, all her boyfriends were white dudes, and she's black. Say she's black. All her boyfriends were white dudes, or all her boyfriends were black dudes. Which one are you okay? Like okay, you know what? Even Which one would you be okay going like I'm okay with you with your sexual past because you've been with this group of people versus this other group of people?
5 black dudes.
Oh, no excuse. What
Yeah, I'm
about
gonna
you?
choose. I'm gonna
I'll
choose
be
all
fine.
black.
Yeah, all black.
Well, on TikTok they were all saying the white dudes because in their mind, to me, when a girl tells me she's been with a black, that's why I said when the sex is not damaging, when a white guy smashes a black girl, it is the nastiest things they do to them. So by the time she comes around to you, because I always say that black dudes are boring, like Nigerian, we are, in my opinion, like we're very boring. What white dudes do to black girls, it's things that they probably they just do some nasty stuff that if she went after no excuse now, a girl tells me she goes after no excuse. I know no, I kind of have an idea. Maybe no excuses into some nasty stuff. I don't know, but I kind of have an idea what no excuse would do, you know. But if a girl tells me she's been with a white guy, it's like that's an automatic never. But anyway, I'll drop that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's
Hey, no
Okay,
excuses. Oh,
that's 85% crazy, but 15% of it I kind of rock with. It- it's he's kind of
but
right.
that's the thing. That's the thing. Chick that's not a virgin, you don't know what she done been. You don't know how she been slid out. To be honest with you.
yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No excuse. I have a question for you. So, you've been to Africa, obviously. Now, have you been to like all the regions of Africa, like West, Central, or even North? I know you've been to South and East, but have you been to the other regions?
No, no, not yet.
Yeah, because like from what I hear about East Africa, that's where the African black women have like the most I wouldn't say overall preference, but like those are the type of black women that would have the most preference for a white man on the African continent. Am I correct?
It would appear that way, but I've listened to a lot of black women talk about it, and they all, majority of women prefer their own culture anyway. I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
you know, the Kenyan,
They're
the Kenyan,
lying to you.
the Kenyans will say the Kenyan women that mess with white dudes are in a small minority. They will say that. They will say it's
Yeah,
not as common as
and
people may think it is, but
They say
you
that
want to
because
know
they're not
how?
being
Oh,
chosen. If there was a migration of white dudes coming to take those women, the women would go in an instant.
I mean, you have like South Africa, for example, where there's like a million plus white people, and from what I get at, like the South African black women ain't getting with them like that. So
no, not naturally because they we have
They had
similar
laws
history.
against it.
We got similar history, so
now
Yeah.
they
we
had
don't.
apartheid
But in
now.
South Africa, it was work. It was against the law, damn near. Like there was real penalties for doing it in South Africa versus in
But I
America.
mean, let's be real. It was the white people at the time, making the law. So I mean, if any white man wanted to get a South African black woman, they could have. So I mean,
Yeah, during
I know
apartheid, definitely.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
But
a
now,
benefit for black women to get with a white dude during the apartheid.
yeah, but all my times been in South Africa, outside of Cape Town, even well, that's the color group is their own. The color women
yeah,
obviously they don't see themselves as black anyway, so they date white and other colors. But I don't see interracial dating a big thing in South Africa, um,
yeah,
like Kenya, like I would see in a Kenya or Uganda.
yeah. I
Well,
hear it's them two countries right there where the women, they most successful white men or something like that.
yeah, Ethiopian. I mean, a lot of Ethiopian women marry European men too. Some of them, a lot of them. Which was I ain't gonna say I wasn't. I ain't gonna say I was surprised. But kind of like I was kind of like a little disheartening because a lot of the Ethiopian women, they don't have a preference, but they don't have a history of colonization. nor slavery like most of Africa and America. So they have a different experience with other races in general. So they don't have that certain history. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
I really wanted to hone in on. I wish I was more specific to talk about procreation because um, women are going to sleep with whoever they want to sleep with at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But um, if obviously if a woman is a black woman, Afro-Latina or African woman, when they're having a child with another race, then she can't be pro-black
Yeah, I agree.
in that instance.
Yeah.
So
Now, now honestly, this might sound, I wouldn't say weird, but the way I gauge on like the black women that I would say, like swirl out the most is just by looking at like what the black population like looks like in a country. So like in Africa, the black people look, pretty black. But in like Latin America, for example, you notice how the black people look very mixed.
hmm
Yeah. So that's how I like gauge where like how much the black people like swirl like by how the black population looks in general. Because like you especially see with like a country like Brazil, for example. So yeah.
it's more acceptable because the kids are more accepted. Mixed kids are more accepted in like Brazil or other countries. But you go to even African countries, even like if we use Kenya, the Kenyans that do typically be with white men, they typically leave Kenya and are in Europe having these mixed kids because in African societies, mixed kids tend to be more ostracized, bullied. They're not black enough. They're not African enough, and most
Yeah.
women recognize that baby in Kenya or I have a mixed baby in Nigeria. Because I've seen a mixed guy interview on O'Shea channel. He was Nigerian and his mom was European, and he talked about how hard it was just navigating in Nigeria being accepted. So
Yeah.
um, most of them leave. A lot of them leave to do it. Ultimately. Um, Let me read this other super chat real quick. They say that because they're not being chosen. Exactly. He said no excuse, accept the truth and stop being in denial.
Yeah. I would yeah, I would agree with what you said. No excuses. Like where like an African black woman would do like the swirling mostly or pretty much like all is like when they leave the continent. That's why you will see like all the mixed kids. Like the soccer player in Britain or in UK.
hmm
Yeah, like an African black woman would get like a mixed kid, outside of Africa, basically, because like you said, the mixed people get made fun of in Africa and all that, not accepted. Like, have you seen the video of the mixed man in Kenya, and he was saying basically he was an outcast and all that? Like it was the
No,
British,
no, I
like
ain't
some
seen
British soldiers. Yeah, some British soldiers left, some Kenyan woman, pregnant, you know, and then they ended up having kids, mixed kids, and then basically there was this one man that was saying, essentially he was an outcast and that he had no life prospects because nobody accepted him in the community and all that. So yeah, I agree with what you said.
Yeah, a lot of people. I wanted to bring this up too. Like feminism, I think it's a sign of when if a woman isn't pro her race, like it's an extension of feminism. And I remember Andrew Tate debating this porn star, and he was talking about how European women, like especially like the UK now, he was like a lot of them are, the white race is declining. And when he talked to white women, white feminists around the world about their population declining, most of them don't care. They have resentment against the white man being in control, and they a lot of them will say, I don't care what happens to the white race. They just care about themselves and right now. So when I hear about white feminists or women that are very sexually liberated, that should be a red flag for white men, because if a white man wants to be pro-white and he wants to see more white children, and his women and white feminist women are saying that, you know, they don't care about creating more white babies, that's a red flag. So in retrospect, if I'm a black man and I'm with a black woman that doesn't care about having more black babies, you know, I personally see that as a red flag. You know, that's kind of my angle.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Now, would you say like overall that you're? I know what you like. Your thoughts about the Afro-Latino Latinas is that pretty much they're like just white worshiping, right?
They're not pro black. They're not inherently pro black because they just don't view race, and they don't carry the of slavery like we do in America. You know, we don't carry. You know, they don't carry those ancestral spirits. You know, they're more forgiving. And maybe because their history isn't as documented as ours, and you know they were accepted more as Colombians or Brazilians versus having a black and white system. But I don't want to call them white. I don't know if I want to call them white worshippers or not. They just different mentally. You know, pro blackness is, they do have that, but it's still a small subset of like a lot of Afro-Latin culture. Um, you know, and then their pro-blackness isn't how we view pro-blackness. Their pro-blackness is more of embracing their identity. It's not really revolved around procreation.
Yeah. Now you said now what you said about the feminism part. Now you notice how in like all these, feminist countries, like all the birth rates are just below replacement rate, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, what I was about to say about Africa is that like even though you might not get the vibe that the African black people are pro black, like what I get at is because well, they already live around, all black people, so they probably don't have to think about, blackness all day.
that's
But
true. That's true.
yeah, but I will say that even if you have, like, in my opinion, the amount of African women that would prefer white men or non-black men in general is like a minuscule amount to where you wouldn't even have to worry about it. And plus, two, you notice how Africa's birth rate is the highest in the world, right?
Yeah. They having babies. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
babies
too.
with black men.
That's true.
So like the women still pretty much all the women prefer black men. So yeah, like you could just look at the birth rates basically, and you just tell they prefer black men.
Well, so what? So what if? Okay, what if I made the argument to say, well, if she's not pro-race, then she's a feminist. The can that hold true? If a woman isn't pro her race, does that is she a feminist? Is that a feminist characteristic? Is that, in essence, is that a red flag?
You know what? I have to agree with you. I will say that makes her a feminist, or like I'll say that's one of the biggest like signs she's actually a feminist because from what I notice on like social media, for example, with like these divester black women types, you notice a lot of them be feminists, right? Like
Yeah.
college educated, all that. Yeah. It seems like those types are the biggest divestors like around, like them college educated types. Like I don't know what them colleges be doing to these women's minds, but it just makes them obsessed with white men or something like that. Like honestly, like how some of these white people on the far right or white men on the far right be discouraging college and all that.
Hmm.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I would say if it were me, I would be encouraging more like women to go to college so they could be more obsessed with them or something like that because these colleges be making these you know non-white women, obsessed with him or something like that. Like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, man. It's a lot of angles, man. But it's an interesting conversation, man. I'm gonna wrap things up, man. But I appreciate you
All right.
coming up, man.
Yeah.
Feel free to come up any other time, man. And you want to
Yeah.
chime in on
Thank you
top?
for bringing me on, and have a great rest of your day.
All right, for sure. Mic check 1 2 1 2. But yeah, man. Interesting conversation. Appreciate everybody's input. Um, in conclusion, I do look at the reason why I look at a black woman, whether she's in Latin America or Africa, if she's open to having children with another race, to me, you know, it's a sign that she could be a feminist. So that's probably the red flag that points out to me. So let me know what y'all think in the comments, and get y'all next week. Until then, peace out.